Hello and welcome back. Today we'll talk about JavaScript objects. Please consider subscribing to my channel for more content. Objects are data type in JavaScript. You can call it an user-defined data type. In this video, we'll look at object creation, object properties, accessing objects, deleting objects. So what I'm doing here is I'll start with creating a variable called person. And as you see, person is a variable type string, which actually means it can hold only one data. What if you want to have multiple data related to that person, like first name, last name, and age? In that case, you can't use string. So what we'll do now is we'll try and create an object using object literals. This is one of the methods to create objects. Here I'm overriding person variable and assigning it to an object. So to create an object using literals, what you have to do is you have to declare a variable and assign it to an object using the curly braces and define different values in the curly braces, are also known as properties. So I'm declaring the first name and I'll assign the first name to person name, and I also will create a last name for this person. We'll assign that to person last name. Let's keep age. We'll mark it to 30. And that's it. We have our first object created, that is person object. What I'll do is, just to show you the difference between the data types, I will create another variable called person1 and assign it to person. Now I'll call type of method on both of these variables to see what data type these variables belong to. First, I will call on person1. This will give an output of string. Let's try and do the same for person, and we got object. So this clearly shows that whatever we declared as a person is an object. Now we have declared the person using an object literal method. Let's do one thing. We'll start again and declare everything from the scratch. We'll start with clearing our console and declare a new object called car and add properties to car. So that is how you create an object. You can just declare a variable and assign it to two flower braces. An object is created, but this object will be empty. So now we will have to add properties to this object. I've added one property called make that belongs to car, assigned it to Volkswagen, and then I'm also adding the make year. Let me assign it to 2020. Also, I will add another property called color. So now our car object has three properties, that is make year, and color. So this is how you add properties to object from outside the object. If we know all the properties which needs to go into an object, we can create an object and give all the properties while creating an object as shown in the video. If not, what we will do is we will create an empty object and then add properties later into the objects like this. Here we have created car first and then added make year, and the color. I really hope you understood how to create an object using an object literal. Please pause video here and try it for yourself. Now let's look at how to create an object using a constructor method. It is very simple. You declare a variable and call a new keyword. After the new keyword, you use object constructor to create an object. It is pretty much like an object literal method, just that here you always add object properties after you create the object. So what I'm doing here is I have created an object television and adding properties to that object So I've added make. I will also add year of make, and I will add size in inches. I spelled television wrong, I've corrected it. I'll add size in inches now. So now we have our television object. If you want to see your object, you can just call your object by itself on the console. You'll be able to see your object. Now we have television object, and it has three properties, that is make year, and size in inches. How simple is it? Now I'm gonna repeat myself. Make year, and size in inch are properties, and television is an object. These properties belongs to television. So any real world object can be represented in computers using objects. We have done such an example. Now let's look at how do we access these objects. We can access any object using a dot operator or brackets. I'm accessing make in the first line using a dot operator. To use dot operator, all you have to do is give object name and dot and then the property name. Similarly, to use a brackets, what you have to do is you have to give an object name and open square brackets and call your properties as strings within the square bracket. How simple is that? So that is how you access properties of an object. Hope this makes sense. I've also called properties from our previous example car. I've used both dot property and bracket to call car properties. Now I will call the car object so that you can see all the properties available in car. Hope this gives you a clarity on what we are doing. Now let's move on to deleting properties of the object. To delete any properties of object, what you have to do is call a delete keyword and access the property which you need to delete. So that's very simple. Now I have deleted color property of the car. If I call the car back, I don't see color property anymore. I've also tried and demonstrated that you can only delete the properties of the object, not the whole object itself. I have tried deleting the car object and I get response false. That means delete operation was not performed. So I'm just going to repeat myself. Using the delete keyword, you can only delete the properties of object, not the whole object. Hope this clarifies. Now let's see how to access all the properties of an object. Assume that you did not create television object or the car object, but you wanted to know what all properties are in the car object or television object. So to do so, what you have to use is a loop. You can use a for loop and try and access all the items or properties within the object. So what I'm doing here is I'm creating a key for each element in television and accessing each element in the for loop. So I'll be console logging all the elements in the objects. If you're unsure of how to use for, please check out my loop videos. So here I've displayed both television and car objects and all the properties within those objects. Television has 3 properties and car has 2 properties. Hope this gives you some understanding on how to access all the properties of an object. If you do not understand how to use for as of now, it is okay because you will be learning for loops in later videos. I really hope you learned basics of objects and you will be ready for more advanced concepts in future. And that's it for this video. I really hope you liked the content. If you did, please give me a thumbs up and consider subscribing to my channel. Happy coding and stay safe.